Hello and welcome to the Coach U Show. We're going to get started in just a moment. So remember to pin a link. Startup.club is where you can find the recordings of the Coach U Show and many other shows. And you can also sign up for our mailing list over at Startup.club and get informed of special events and speakers and different shows that are being recorded at Startup Club, just like this one. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Jeffrey, and hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coach U Show.
Welcome, Dennis. It's always good to see you every week for the Coach U.
I'm glad to see you guys every week, and every week we have a new topic, something that we'll teach, and then open it up to you guys for live exercises. And today, in the Coach U Show, as part of Startup.club, I wanted to introduce 15-second videos. When I was on CNN Live in front of 3.5 million people arguing with Mark Zuckerberg, I flopped. And afterwards, the host told me, basically, Dennis, you suck, because you don't know how to get to the point. You've got to be able to make 15-second soundbite statements. When you're a keynote speaker or you're giving presentations or webinars, 45-minute, 1-hour presentations is completely different than being able to do 15-second snippets, telling a story in 15 seconds. So today is an opportunity for all of us to practice doing this. I see we have Dr. Jermaine here. He's our hero, no pun intended. Claude is here. Other friends of ours are here. So in just a moment, we're going to open it up for you guys to practice 15-second videos. The key in a 15-second video is breaking it into 3 components: the intro, the body, and the exit. So the intro is how you get attention or your initial statement. The body, you can say whatever you want in the body. And the exit is your closing sentence. And what George Howell told me, he's the counterpart to Anderson Cooper. He just retired. They're both big time on CNN. He said, the reason why people ramble and they struggle when it comes to speaking impromptu or being on TV or making a TikTok video, really, is they don't have the exit. So let's say I ask Jeffrey a question. Hey, Jeffrey, what is so cool about these pet rugs on paw.com? And Jeffrey starts to answer, and he starts to talk about this rug and that rug and how they've grown and whatnot. But then he doesn't have his exit. And because he doesn't have his exit, in this theoretical example, Jeffrey would never falter because he's a pro speaker. But let's say that he kept talking. If he doesn't have an exit, then he will just keep rambling. And you've seen people where they're in trouble and they keep rambling, and you're thinking, my goodness, just stop, right? So the key is you have to have your exit within the first 5 seconds. So in your intro, you have to already know what that exit is. So to buy time to be able to come up with the exit, you can actually pause for a few seconds, or you can say, Anderson, that's a great question, or something like that, just to buy yourself some time if you're on live TV, for example. But if you're making a Facebook story, TikTok story, Instagram story, Snapchat story, 15-second cell phone selfie style video, you don't get the benefit of being able to use filler. So in that case, you have to have your exit in your mind before you even press record. And I think that's what scares most people, why they're intimidated in pressing the red circle, is that they're not sure what to say. But if you have the exit, and the exit will be a call to action. It'll be, I'm Dr. Jermaine Ware, and I help heroes help other heroes, right? Come see me in Indianapolis. My phone number is 12345. Whatever it might. Call me now for a free 15-minute consultation. Let's see what you can do what we can do together to make you healthier. Whatever it might be. Your call to action, contact me, fill out the form, let me help you get healthier. Let me give you the 5 tips on how you can do whatever, right? So if you have the exit, then you already know kind of what the body is. And then the intro can be anything that's a hook, anything that's interesting. It could be as simple as, hey, did you know there's 3 things you can do to improve your metabolic health right now? 1, 2, and if you want to hear the third one, come check out my blog, right? So there I've got the intro, the body, and the exit. You guys ready to do this? Ready to give this a shot? Live in 15 seconds? I didn't bring my horn, which I would squeeze at the 15-second mark for anyone who goes over the limit. But who's game for this? Hit the hand raise button in the bottom left, and Jeffrey's going to moderate you. No need to give a whole intro about who you are and your background and that kind of stuff. Just jump right into it, right? Jeffrey will call your name,
Yep.
and you go
Here.
into your 15-second video, and we'll chat about it for a moment, and then we'll bring up the next person. So who wants to be the brave soul to do a 15-second video? You know, the
So
funny
we.
thing is it takes 15 minutes to talk about a 15-second video. I used to get a lot of crap because you guys probably know me for the 1-minute video and the $1 a day. And we have all these courses that go on for hours about how do you make the ideal 1-minute video. And people would say, Dennis, the 1-minute video, why do you go for a whole hour to talk about a 1-minute video? Shouldn't it take just 1 minute? Well, the funny thing is that the shorter the video is, the harder it is. It's easy to speak for an hour. It's pretty hard to speak for 1 minute because you got to get right to the point. You have to know the structure of it. And it's even harder to speak for 15 seconds if you think about that. Seems counterintuitive, but you have to know exactly where the exit is in a 15-second video. And in 15 seconds, you actually have quite a bit of time. You can say a lot. And some people, they think, well, with 15 seconds, I'm going to have to talk as fast as I can, as many words as I can possibly, no breath in between. No, you can actually slow down. You can have intonation. You can pause. You just have to choose 2 or 3 really good sentences. And that's all you really need. Who wants to give this a shot? Jeffrey, you want to be our first
Yep.
brave
Well,
volunteer?
we have Saman. I hope I pronounced it correctly, but we have Saman on stage. So Saman, you're our
Yes.
first taker.
Okay. So, is there any topic I want to talk about
No,
here?
just go for it. Go for it. The minute you talk, the minute you're on, you're go. The minute you speak a word, that's go.
Okay. Uh, I got a solution for the people to actually have access to the organic food. And right now, like it's very hard to find organic food. But once you look at the ocean, uh, people are still going out to hunt for new meat, which is actual organic food. So if you really want to get have access to the proper organic food, you can contact me and my company to supply you with proper seafood. Well, I think I messed it up. Well,
Good.
So that was about 20 seconds.
Yeah, Saman, good job. I remember you came up, I want to say 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. So think about the 3 components. There's the intro, which is your hook. There's the body, which is a statement or two about what you do or some interesting fact that you want to share. And then there's the call to action. So you could say, did you know that organic seafood is not hard to get in Australia? And here's the process on how we collect this and distribute it among certain restaurants. It's actually quite affordable. I'm Saman. Contact me so you can be healthier, right? You see how there's 3 parts? There's something to get their attention, some kind of interesting fact or statement, and then a call to action. So do that, and you can make 15-second videos all day. All
thank you.
right?
Yeah, you're
Great. Thank you, Saman. All right, who else wants to give this a shot? I'm telling you that 15-second video, I know it's audio in here, the irony of all this, but being able to communicate in 15-second sound bites is the key to succeeding in social media. When Jake Paul and I spent all this time together making videos, teaching young adults how to do videos on TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, whatnot, the guy is snappy. He's so good. I would say, all right, Jake, now encourage them in 15 seconds to get the personal branding guide. And he would say, guys, personal branding guide is going to be your key to being able to grow your business and get your influence out there. Learn how to do it right now. Download our personal branding guide. Go get it, right? Or something like that, right? I'm just approximating how Jake would be. And then I said to him, that's pretty good. One more time. Try a different angle. He'd say, if you're a young adult and you're trying to build your YouTube channel, I've got the exact process on what you need to do to be able to get more views and influence, because there's a chicken and egg. And the thing is, you got to be known. I'm going to show you how to do that step by step. Come get our personal branding guide, right? And just on and on and on and on. And you don't have to be Jake Paul or Gary Vaynerchuk. But when you watch the pros in action, the reason why these people who are influencers, and I don't mean the Paris Hilton kind of influencers, I mean people who are well known in a particular category, it's because they're able to communicate in these sound bites. Really, the difference between the people who are really successful entrepreneurs and those folks who are probably just as smart and work just as hard is their ability to communicate and motivate in these little sound bites. So I encourage you guys, give it a shot. Who wants to give this a roll? Hit the button, hand raise button in the bottom left. CJ Miller there. I know you want to give this a shot. Data lead, account based marketing. Oh, Justin's here.
Yep, we've got Justin
Fantastic.
on stage. But just before Justin goes, Dennis, I just want to say that the advice you give about knowing your exit is really important for any type of storytelling, whether it's 15 seconds or 15 minutes. If you're going to tell a story, you want to know what that final moment is going to be. What's the exit? What's the emotion, the effect you're looking for at the end? How do you want your audience to feel when you stop telling that story? And that's really just good storytelling. So knowing that exit is really important for 15 seconds and even longer stories.
In
But
fact, any communication, anytime you are talking to somebody, anytime you're writing an email, anytime you're composing a tweet, you can use this three-part formula. Think about the long form story that Jeffrey told a few weeks ago about when his daughter cut off her finger and he had to drive back from the hospital to find the piece of flesh and bring it back to the doctor to sew it back together. And now her hand is okay. You can use the three-part story, right? And how how Jeffrey gave his daughter a hand,
absolutely. Yeah, my
and the
my
harrowing
my ending
journal,
was the fingers.
and
I started with her being born with all
10
fingers and
fingers. That's
toes, as
right.
every parent looks for, and
Yeah,
then I ended with the fingers.
yeah. So he looped it all the way back around. But think about how many different ways he could have done the ending on this crazy story about a parent who cares for his child who's in the emergency room and part of her finger is gone, and now you got to go back to the kitchen and figure out where this piece is or wherever it was, right? He could have ended by talking just like he said when the daughter was born, make sure she's got all 10 fingers, right, and 10 toes. He could have ended it on, and that goes to show a parent will do anything for the love of their child. And what about your child, right? Or here's my guide on how you can make a 1 minute video and be a compelling storyteller. Or here's an example of our three-part Hollywood story arc, the hero's journey. Or there's so many different ways that you can do an ending. You can drive people to contact you, to a blog post, to schedule an appointment, to watch a video, to learn more about a particular topic, to click on the link below. That's the one I hate, by the way, when people say, and click on the link below to learn more, and I'll see you on the other side. Well, with social media video, there's often no link below. It's just following or clicking the heart, and the link isn't often below. On TikTok, it's on the right side. Most people are looking at the navigation in white on the right side. So that being said, right, if you have the exit, the other parts are easy to figure out, the intro and the body. Justin, welcome. Mr. Justin Knowles, CEO and
Welcome,
founder
my
of Mobile
friend.
Appliance.
Yes, sir. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Hope I don't cut out. I'm on a back road here traveling. But I'll simply go ahead and go. My target is funeral home, so timer go. Hey, funeral home owners, did you know that you have 6,600 individuals coming in and out of your funeral home and following your hearses? I am Justin Knowles, and I'm going to show you how to capture those individuals so we can build more relationships so they don't have to guess what to do and who to turn to when death occurs in your community.
Fantastic. Jeffrey, how long was that? It was about 19
That was about
seconds.
17 seconds. Yeah, it was pretty.
Okay. Yeah.
Ah,
Right on. And it's actually okay if you go over 15 seconds. The reason why we say 15 is that 15 is the length of an Instagram story. Anything longer than that, and you can't run that, is an Instagram story. TikTok said that the ideal length is between 15 and 22 seconds. But if you don't say 15 seconds, then people will say, oh, it means 30 seconds. And if you tell them try to keep it under a minute, pretty soon they go for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. We've done the 1 minute video live exercise like we have here in Clubhouse, in webinars, at conferences, at masterminds, in live trainings. And most of the time when people come up to give their 1 minute video, they go for 2 minutes. And they don't realize how fast that time goes. And you might think that it felt like 15 seconds for your story, Justin, because the time goes by so fast. but you'd be surprised. Like if you're on TV and you're answering in sound bites, you typically have a 2.5 to 3 minute slot where you're on local TV. That's about how long the segments are. But you might think it feels like it goes by in a blink. I was on CBS Evening News and they're asking me questions about Mark Zuckerberg and Cambridge Analytica and stuff like that. And I had barely gotten started. And the TV host said, well, that was in that we broke for commercials. And the host looked at me and he said, yep, that was 3.5 minutes. Goes by so fast, doesn't it? He looked at me, smiled, and he said that in maybe 10 seconds while I was exiting the studio. And 5 seconds later, and he says, and we're back. And in today's news, this car accident happened and the weather is high and the stock market went up and down and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, wow, he just communicated to me what I felt like was an hour of conversation and deep empathy, where he was looking at me and he smiled, kind of winked. Yet that moment took only 10 seconds. So think about how you can recreate something without having to hurry to say, so Justin could open. So his opening was great, an interesting factoid. Did you know that 6,600 people follow these hearses around? Imagine if more people were following you and they saw you as the trusted source. I'm Justin Knowles, and I want to help you grow your funeral home. And that's it, right?
Got it.
There
Got
you
it.
go.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Good job, Justin. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, man. Same here.
Yeah. Mr. Justin and I got to hang out in San Diego at Traffic and Conversion Summit, and we made a few 1-minute videos together, which is great.
We did. We did.
And interesting, especially on how he decided to serve funeral homes as his niche, which is a whole nother crazy story by itself. Awesome. Who else wants to make a 15-second story? Live practice, public speaking. You'd have to pay $50,000 to go to one of these public speaking masterminds. I've been to some of them, like the ones with Brennan Burchard or Roger Love or these sorts of people. They charge a lot of money to go to these things to get private coaching. You're getting it free right now in Clubhouse. If I were you, I'd raise my hand and go for it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yep. Raise your hand. We'll bring you up. But Dennis, it's interesting because the other advantage of 15-second videos in particular is it's really not enough time if you do it right and just get to the point and follow, as you suggested, your intro, your body, and your exit. There's no need to do any editing. There's no time to do any editing. It's really just you looking right at the camera. So you're connecting your eyes with the eyes of the viewer and getting through those 15 seconds nice and clean. Whereas as soon as you get into longer video formats, then you have the added piece of, okay, I made a there, I got to cut that out, or do I need to do some editing, or what do I want to add to it? 15 seconds, it's really just boom, 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 make your point, and you're done. So for video, it's a great time.
2 days ago, I flew into Los Angeles to meet my client, David Solomon, who sold $1 billion in LA real estate. He's selling $200 million a year of luxury homes. And we got together to make probably 100, 150 15-second videos so that people who are looking for beachfront property, luxury homes in Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, or Venice, right? They know that he's the guy. He's the guy who sold the homes to the executives at Snapchat or Google. And because the lady that runs Snapchat bought 3 houses from him, then the other executives on the team also bought houses from him. And the other executives from TikTok and Google and other folks in the LA area and Santa Monica, they would all these tech executives. You can imagine in the last 2 years how tech companies have really risen and monetized. These folks are putting money in the real estate. And so they're contacting my client, David Solomon. And you would think that someone who's selling, I think we toured 4 homes, and the average home was maybe $5 million. There was one that was $11 million, which isn't much. Like you would think a $5 million home would be some monstrous kind of thing, but this house is $5 million. Are you kidding? Yep, that's what it is. But when we first started doing this a few months ago, he would keep starting over and starting over because I would point my cell phone at him. I had the Rode Wireless Go clipped to him, so that we had good sound. That's the key. The best video, the most important part of the video is the audio. Most people don't know that. And I'd point at him and I'd say, go. Then he'd say, this home behind us sold for $2,000 a square foot, the highest that's ever been sold in Santa Monica. I'm David Solomon. I'm going to help you find, or I'm going to help you sell your home for the highest amount of money. Contact me. Let's figure out the best angle to sell your home, right? Something like that. The intro, the body, and the exit. And we did this in front of each of these properties, some of them that he's listing right now, some of them where he has existing clients. A lot of them, these tech executives, these are second homes. They fly down from San Francisco. They don't want people to know that they own a bunch of these homes. But some of them were willing to talk about their homes and what it was like working with David and what the ins and outs are of finding the right properties and the different sorts of features that people care about in a second home or an investment home, or why this particular part of town is so safe that you'd even be comfortable having your grandma staying there. And as we were touring through these homes, and I was recording the video, following him around with my iPhone Pro Max 13, you could hear his knowledge. You could hear how he knew all the neighborhoods. As we were driving around in his Escalade, he was pointing at different houses. And he said, that house there sold for 11.5. This complex, 2 years ago, the builder was about to run out of money, but I told him he needed to put a top floor patio, and that's what made that sell so well. And then this home sold to this guy who also bought this other house, who also is the chairman of Redfin Ventures, or who also is this and that. And then this construction over here means that this part of town is going to be like this. And then the guy who owns this restaurant also owns, this warehouse over here. So you could see as we were just driving through West LA, he knew the thing like the back of his hand. He told stories about his mother, who was in real estate for 25 years before he even got into real estate and started selling real estate, right? David grew up as a salesperson, learned how to sell houses, learned what the key was. You know how he got started? Here's another story. He found expired listings. He went to a Tom Ferry seminar with thousands of people where they were talking about expired listings. An expired listing is when a real estate agent puts a home up for sale, but they don't sell the home because maybe the the seller had ridiculous expectations, or because they didn't stage it properly, or the agent didn't take the time to take proper pictures, or market it properly, or use the network, or they didn't know how it was a high-end home with owner paid features that are expensive. They didn't know that that was a $5,000 shower head. We were in the kitchen 2 days ago in one of these homes in Santa Monica, and he said, this is a $3,500 faucet in the sink. And I said, what? Yes. What? Well, why is that? And he went into detail about why this was such a fancy faucet. And he said most agents, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. Like this, he said, this particular house has $1 million of improvements in it. And it was just a regular condo as far as I could tell. It had a view of the beach, of course. And it had a master bedroom that had these folding doors that opened up into the living room. And you could separate out the master bedroom and living room, or you could open it up into this big open sort of area. And that was a really cool feature. But most agents wouldn't know how to do that. They wouldn't know how to turn on the lights to show it properly. They wouldn't have a professional photographer. They wouldn't know to make sure to get the place ready, the music running, the vibe there before the potential buyer shows up. The second showing that we went to a second showing that day, and this is a Silicon Valley person that you would recognize that was buying this house. We can't say who it was. But his agent came the first time and checked it out, and then he came the second time and decided he was going to just go ahead and buy this house. And it was neat seeing a guy like that in action. And we captured these moments behind the scene, driving on the way where I said, David, where are we going? Well, we're heading over 1.5 miles this way to this particular property. And what's unique about this property is this, this, and this. And then I'll say, okay, now the buyer's going to arrive in about 10 minutes. What are you doing? Well, I'm getting the place ready, right? I'm opening the windows. I'm turning the lights on. I'm making sure this, this, and this are in place. We've got to be there ahead of them. This particular building, they're real strict about masks. So all of us, we have to make sure we have our masks on, and we have to make sure this and make sure that. And then afterwards, we'd say, okay, great. You just showed the property. what was the key to driving that kind of sale? Well, I knew that this guy was buying it for his daughter, and his daughter really cares about privacy, or really cares about this particular feature of making sure that it has a second master bedroom that has a full bath instead of a half bath. And this particular property meets all the features that she's looking for that she's not going to find in another house, right? I was able to find this particular property, negotiate with the owner, blah blah blah, and I thought, wow, okay, that's really interesting how he's able to personalize the experience. So I captured probably 150 of these moments as we're following him around and having a day in the life of what is it like being a luxury real estate broker. And he has a whole team. We drove by his office and he said, yep, that building over there, the whole top floor is mine. And I don't even go into the office anymore because my staff takes care of all the details of managing the listings. Certain super high-end properties that have owner financed or owner paid for improvements, I'll be there to show, but we have listing agents, we have buyer agents, we have seller agents, we have a marketing team. I have several admins. We have other people that do these different things, and this is how we've been able to run as a machine, because one agent, no matter how hard they could work 24/7, is not going to beat a team. So
So
I just
Dennis,
went through about 10 different 15-second stories with you just now, just so you could kind of see the flow of how these all fit
but
together,
Dennis,
right?
I have a question for you. The 100 or
Yeah.
so 15-second videos you created with the real estate agent. So how is he now going to utilize those to his benefit? What's the distribution, the sharing
Mm-hmm.
strategy, the platforms? How are you going to put those videos to
Yeah.
use?
So first off, they were all recorded on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. And I brought $15,000 of camera gear with me. We didn't use it for various reasons. And I find that other pro videographers are saying the same thing. So we are capturing these, and I was coaching him. I was kind of off camera coaching him. I brought a pro videographer coming in to help film behind the scenes as I'm helping David film, to show what I'm doing to be able to coach this guy. So we collected all these different scenes. I'm coaching David on, okay, I want you to walk into the house, right? Walk into the house and then motion, like wave at me, say, come on, come along. I'm going to show you what's inside this house, right? Of course, he says it better than I am because I don't know anything about real estate. And I'm coaching him through these different scenes, making sure that those three components are always there in every scene. There's some kind of intro hook where there's usually some motion. So it's him waving us in, like, welcome. He's opening the front door saying, oh, hi, come on in, right? You can imagine what that looks like. Welcome to this house. It's an amazing 5-bedroom, 4,500 square foot house, beautiful views of Santa Monica. The properties adjoining have sold for $5.5 and $6 million. This one is newly listed, and here's some really cool features about this house. Let's go check it out, right? So I'm coaching him through these different snippets, all about 15 seconds long. We capture all of them. They're on my phone. Because I have an iPhone, I'm paying for iCloud, so it's automatically uploading to Apple, so I'm paying the $10 a month. It's automatically uploading to Google Photos too, so that's another $10 a month. And I'm paying another $10 a month to upload to Amazon. All those videos get uploaded when I connect to high-speed Wi-Fi, and then the video editing team notices, oh, look, there's another 150 videos inside the shared folder. We use access@blitzmetrics.com as our shared folder email. So any of our video team members or other VAs that want to get access, they don't have to individually get access. We don't have to upload files. We don't have to manage individual file sharing kinds of things. Everyone knows if you have access to access@blitzmetrics.com, then here's how you get access to all the client stuff, all organized by these different folders. Because we're using Google Drive and Google Photos, which are not the same thing, we know that Google is auto tagging. So it recognizes David Solomon. And any picture or video with David Solomon in it, it's automatically grouping. So we don't have to create a folder of David Solomon. We don't have to create a folder of Santa Monica real estate. We don't have to create a folder of all of the videos that were created on November 9th, 2021, or whatever day it was, right? Which is 2 days ago. It's automatically categorized by Google. Then our video VAs see these different videos, and there's probably 200 some videos in there, of which I'll say 60 are usable. And the reason why there's maybe 130 or so that are not usable is that's when the client is saying, and welcome to this particular property. I'm going to show you what's interesting about this kitchen. And the thing, and then he'll say, oh, crap. Or the airplane flies over him. He's like, oh, no, let's restart that one. Or he stutters, or there's so many retakes. Don't be scared of having retakes. If you find you screwed up, pause for 2 seconds, then go again. It's only 15 seconds, just go again. And so our team knows they can watch them and see which ones are retakes, therefore we ignore them, and which are the ones that we're going to stitch together. We have templates on how we want to format these videos, so that way we don't have our video VAs trying to be all creative and come up with stuff that's brand new. We don't want them spending 40 hours editing a 1-minute video, which happens to us all the time with new video VAs, where we say, look, you need to use the process, you need to use the templates we have. Here's how we do the lower thirds, which is showing their name and their title and their company. Here's how we do the closing bumper, which is showing the phone number and showing their address, right? Link, click, so that we can drive the lead. So we don't have to invent a new one every single time. It's all template driven. When those videos are lightly edited, by the way, you don't transcribe anymore. We used to transcribe on these short videos, but we found that the social media networks, they do native transcription. And with too much transcription, it slows it down. It costs more money for us to do it. There's more opportunity for error. We just use native transcription. It is true that native transcription, they don't know acronyms. They often get certain words that are wrong, but it's okay. People don't really care because they know it's auto transcription done by Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, whatnot. Then we have a team that picks those up. They pick them up out of the finished video folder. We have a raw video folder. When they're done and they pass QA, the QA is done by someone other than the video editor who worked on that video. We don't want the same person QAing their stuff, because then they'll just say, oh yeah, it's good. But we also don't want the video editor to not QA their stuff. So we always want everyone to QA their own stuff, but then to pass QA, another video editor has to look at it and say, yep, it meets our checklist. We have a 1-page checklist on QAing video that just looks for the most basic sorts of problems that we see all the time. And that way we don't have to keep looking for the same mistakes every single time. There's 10 mistakes that these video VAs make all the time, and we have training on how to correct it. We run our video VAs through this training so they get certified before they even touch a single client video, yet they'll still make these mistakes. So we still have to QA it. Even the ones that have done 100 different video edits, we have to still run through this QA. So just know that if you're managing VAs, this is something that you need to do. Then when it's in the finished video folder, we have a team that we call repurposing. And the repurposing queue, which is run also by VAs, is they take those videos and they cross-post it into Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and blog posts and all these other kinds of networks. And they also will boost for $1 a day for 7 days against that target audience. The target audience is a saved audience that we've already built inside Facebook Ads Manager, already inside TikTok, already inside Twitter, already inside these other channels. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We want to make it pretty much idiot proof when we're boosting posts. When it's a real estate agent or it's a service provider, we just target their geography. We used to do micro targeting, people who are higher income, or their moms, or they live in a certain zip code, or they have a certain preference, or they like luxury real estate or Sotheby's because they're more likely to buy things that are high end, or they like wine or the beaches. Or we used to do all sorts of crazy kinds of targeting. But now a lot of that is illegal. A lot of it is not allowed. And Facebook made an announcement 2 or 3 days ago that they're eliminating most of interest targeting. And you're going to see the same is true on Twitter and LinkedIn and TikTok. I mean, TikTok already took away all the interest targets, except for the most basic ones that don't even matter, like lifestyle ones. Because the algorithm's going to do the targeting based on who engages with your content. So the repurposing team posts to all the different networks and then will boost for $1 a day. If it's an important piece of content, and we have a way of marking what is low, medium, and high authority, we have an authority scale, a 30-point scale, determining, so that way it's not subjective on whether we think it's high authority content. We'll put more money against it. And then we have another team finally that looks at the performance of these ads, which is organic plus paid. And the ones that are working well, we'll put more money on it. The ones that don't do as well, we just let them run out. So $7 over 7 days, or sometimes it's $20 a day, driving leads, for example. And then we have what's called our greatest hits. Greatest hits are the evergreen content that will work really well. So evergreen is non-property specific. It is not specific to an event. It's not your Black Friday sale. It is something that you can use forever. It's telling a story. It's saying, every morning I like to stop here for coffee because Sheila knows exactly what I like. And I've been, I've known her for years, or blah, blah, blah. It's telling stories. It's talking about who you are, how you got started, sharing your expertise. Hey, did you know that these are 3 common myths about migraines? That you need to drink a lot of water, that if you're in the dark, they go away, that the chiropractor can't help you with migraines. Well, I'm a chiropractor and I can help you. I'm Dr. Jermaine Ware. I have this particular certification. Come see me, right? So that process is what we call the content factory. It's taking the raw video that comes off of the phone, running it through templates that are governed by a process so that VAs, virtual assistants, at every step in the process can do their part of the factory. So no one VA can manage every single skill in the assembly line in the factory. But with 6 different roles, which is the number of roles we have in the factory, we can crank out content at scale. These VAs are using tools, so there's automation that we use. So there's automation that allows us to post, it allows us to edit videos. There's tools like Descript with Overdub that allows us to correct and use AI voice. There's tools that will do transcription. There's tools that will edit according to templates, and tools that will write books off of the content that we create, which we covered in Clubhouse a couple months ago. But those tools don't substitute for certain things that humans need to do. And I feel that the humans are just one step ahead of the robot. In the same way that the Uber drivers are just one step ahead of the self-driving cars. Self-driving cars are almost there, but we still need humans. And marketing automation tools do all kinds of stuff, but we still need humans, right? Even though I'm an engineer, I recognize there's a limit to what software has. It's kind of a 50-50. It's not all software and it's not all humans. We need a mix of those. The most human part that the AI will never be able to replicate, at least it will be the last thing to be replicated, is our ability to tell stories. And that's what we're talking about here today. That's what I want you guys to get more practice. Maybe you don't feel ready to do it right here. Maybe you're working out and listening to us on Clubhouse. Maybe it's like a podcast. But at some point, I hope in the next 24 hours, you're going to want to practice making 15-second stories. And you're going to realize everything you do is a 15-second story. Telling your wife how your day was at work. That's a 15-second story. Hopefully no call to action like, and now please make my dinner, right? Maybe the ending is, and how was your day, right? But either way, you can still use this 3-part format. I'd encourage you to see that being able to communicate in this 3-part format is the framework for all sorts of communications. You can use it in the Zoom meetings with clients. You can use it talking to prospects. You can use it training team members. You can use it in your ads. It's not a Facebook or TikTok or Snapchat specific format. It's how do you communicate clearly and bring people to a certain point.
Hey, Dennis.
So that's our process. Yep.
Dennis, first of all, thank you for sharing that process. I'm really glad I asked that question because that was really, really interesting how you've broken it down into a process that can be scaled and replicated. And at the core of that, of course, as you said, is the person telling the story. We haven't had a lot of people who wanted to come up and tell the story here live on Clubhouse. Maybe they want to think about it a little bit more and think about what their intro, body, and exit is going to be. So why don't we do this, Dennis? Why don't we say, if you're listening to this show, either now live or in the replay or recording, and you want to actually create a 15-second video, post it on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and tag it with hashtag CoachU15, and we'll look for them and we'll add your videos to the blog post at startup.club for this episode so people can see how you did after you had time to give some thought to it. Dennis, what?
That is a great idea, Jeff. And we've been collecting hundreds of our favorite stories And we've been grouping them by category. So category is real estate agent, chiropractor, orthodontist, e-commerce seller, like whatever it is, whatever kind of profession, whatever type of business you are, that's the category. And then also by geography. So people who are in LA or Boston or Dallas or San Antonio or whatnot. And then we also categorize by the skill. So what is it that they are talking about, the subject matter? Is it about your health? Is it your heart? Is it how do you learn to play the guitar? Is it how do you cook a delicious steak like Gordon Ramsay? These are all topics. And our hope is that we assemble this directory of all the videos that our friends have created so that you could come in and say, all right, I am a e-commerce person selling supplements on, how to fix your metabolism. Okay, cool. Here's all the other ones that are kind of like that. And you'll see that Facebook has an ads library. TikTok has an ads library. Twitter sort of has an ads library. LinkedIn doesn't have one. But there isn't an ads library that covers how to create these kinds of videos. They just show examples. So we want to pair the training, like what you have here, with these different examples so you can put these together. And don't think it has to be a video. The video, of course, is the most powerful type. But let's say that you wanted to take baby steps because making a selfie video is kind of scary. You get that feeling in your stomach like, oh my goodness, I gotta press record. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna push it off. I'm gonna stare at that record button for 10 minutes because I'm too scared to press. Then write a LinkedIn post using this framework. Use 4 or 5 sentences that's worth about 15 seconds worth of speaking, if you will. And tag me, tag Jeffrey, tag Startup Club, right? And we can also assemble that. There's so many different ways to tell stories. If you can tell a story, if you're willing, not if you can, of course you're able to. If you're willing to tell a story, you are ahead of 90% of your competitors. Think about that. That's why we're here. We're not here to be entertained. I hope you're entertained. We're here to grow our businesses. We're here to put our brands out there so that people identify with who we are, and that's why people buy. They don't buy what you're selling, they buy who you are. You know that. Simon Sinek, start with why. So it looks like we've got a couple other folks that want to volunteer their stories.
Yep, we've got Hitesh and Chris. Let's go to Hitesh. Changed his mind. Let's go to Chris.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for inviting me up here to speak. So it's really funny, Dennis, that you mention a lot of things when it comes to baby steps and starting with a why, because I own a videography business here in Seattle, Washington, and the biggest thing for me that I like doing with my clients is obviously I can create video to help represent who they are as a business and as a product and as a service, but it's the educational aspect to help them understand exactly what you said, the why behind what they're creating. The reason why I kind of dive into this is because of COVID. COVID pushed everyone into a rebrand, and everyone started at zero. And so it forced everyone to understand that videography is such an important tool now more than ever. And so I love helping my clients understand not just the why behind the creating content, but helping them to overcome that fear of stage fright. And so because of that, I'm creating some courses that help with that. And I have a theater background, so I'm taking everything that I learned from my theater degree and applying it to all of my clients to show them, listen, being on camera isn't as hectic and as chaotic as you think. It literally is conversation because you want to be a relatable figure for your business. You don't want to be a salesman. You want to be someone that's having a conversation. And so it's so funny that you mentioned all of that because that's exactly what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I love to help my clients in within all of that when it comes to content creation or just being comfortable in front of the camera.
Fantastic, Chris. We like to practice what we preach. So I'd like to hear you give your example of a 15-second story. Choose any topic. You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, go.
All right, so when it comes to being comfortable in front of the camera, the biggest thing that you need to do is highlight your personality. Be you. You have this God given ability, this God given talent that you have. Don't hide it. If you talk loud, be loud. If you talk with your hands, use your hands. That's what's going to stand you out. That's what's going to make you be on top of your competitors because you are relatable, you're personable, and that will make your content a lot more repeatable. And that's exactly what you want to get your product or service out to your target audience so you can drive in leads that obviously will lead into.
All
Very
right,
good.
that was 38 seconds, almost
All
39.
right. So what do you think, Mr. Chris, of your 15-second video or story?
you know, the whole thing about it is it's still a growing process. I'm still learning. I'm still adapting. But I'm confident in what I do, and I'm confident in how I can help people. But that's why I'm here, man. It's to grow, to grow in what I love and what I'm.
Good job. The key here, you make the same mistake that I make all the time because you're so passionate. You want to encourage people to tell their story, but you got to have the exit. So when you start speaking, when you don't have an exit, you'll have run-on sentences. So that's kind of what you had there. And all of us do the same thing. So to be able to speak in powerful sound bites, know exactly where the exit is and nail it. See, just like that, right? I knew what my ending sentence was going to be. And the funny thing here, I'll just say this all in love, Chris, you know this, is that the people who usually struggle the most with making video is videographers. The people who struggle the most with making great social media content are the social media marketers. It sounds ridiculous. It's like the divorce rate of the marriage counselors is super high, right? Or the pastor's son is the one who gets in the most trouble. But I find that working with videographers, videographers are good. I'm generalizing here, but just this is not completely true, but it's mostly true. Videographers are usually good at coaching the client, so they're good at actually getting the end result of telling the client what to say, of comforting them. Most of it is just getting the client comfortable so they don't freeze up in front of the camera. But the funny thing is that when you put the videographer in front of the camera, it changes a little bit, doesn't it? I put a lot of videographers on camera just to see what happens, and it's interesting.
But I even,
Jeffrey or Chris, you
Dennis,
were going to say something.
yeah, I even question whether the term videographer is relevant anymore because video and videography, that's the tool. What you are is a storyteller, and you happen to use video as the means of telling the story. If you say you're a videographer, it's almost like it's only just talking about the technical side of it, right? The equipment that you use. But I think we've gone beyond that because the equipment to create video has been democratized. I mean, we all have, I'm holding in my hand right now an iPhone that has the capabilities that, when I started my career many years ago, I was paying $550 an hour in a studio to be able to do the things that I can do for free that just were embedded in my iPhone. So, I wonder about the whole idea of being a videographer as opposed to a storyteller who uses video.
You know what frustrates the heck out of videographers, and I'll just say it because I'm around videographers all day, is anyone who has an iPhone, they now believe that they're a pro camera guy, right? They believe they're a videographer. And I see wedding photographers being run out of business, especially because COVID hurt them. You can imagine because weddings got delayed. But there is something to be said about like Jeffrey's point, anyone with a cell phone can collect videos. And I'll just say one thing, and I'll throw it out there for some thoughts by you guys. So we've been on some high-end photo shoots by some big brands that you've heard of. And they'll spend $50,000, $100,000 on something that is filmed cinematically, like a master class by people who really know what they're doing, people who are vying for awards in the industry awards, like the professional in video, radio, TV, this kind of thing. And they produce what looks like a fantastic commercial. It's technically shot the right way. It has a script, all these pieces. And then Dennis comes along with his iPhone, even an old iPhone, films a short little video, doesn't even have proper sound, no lighting, no effects. The video stuff is done by VAs in the Philippines making $5 an hour. using After Effects and Premiere, and consistently our selfie style cell phone videos outperform the professionally made videos in terms of sales, click-through rate, conversion rate, average watch time, all of that. Isn't that crazy? What do you guys think about
Well, Dennis, that's because consumer behavior has changed. So my first job out of college, which was a long time ago, I graduated college in 1980. So I'm talking 40 years ago. My first job out of college, I had to supervise film to tape video transfers. So I would sit in the studio, and this is how you would take a film that was on 35 millimeter film and transfer it to videotape. And we had to, everything was done manually. Nothing was computerized. You had to do two guys. One guy was in the video room, one guy was at the switcher. 3, 2, 1. They had to hit the button at the same time to lay the reel down. And I had to look for scratches in the film and defects that we had to edit out, because back then there was something called broadcast quality, and you were not allowed, it was actually finable by the FCC to put video on broadcast television that was not, quote, broadcast quality. So broadcast quality meant it was shot with professional cameras, it was edited properly. A jump cut, which MTV made de rigueur. A jump cut was not considered broadcast quality. You could not put a video on air where you cut from two scenes together, with the same framing, the same camera angle. That's a jump cut. Today, that's normal. Today, you can turn on a network television show and see Zoom videos being used. Reporters are using their iPhones from the field. So the consumer acceptance of what's good video has changed dramatically, and that's exactly why your point is spot on. People are accustomed to seeing more natural, more handheld stuff, more stuff shot on mobile phones, etc. So that's become the norm, and so that performs better because it's more normal and more accepted. So it's been fascinating over these 40 years to watch things shift from what was literally illegal 40 years ago to being more accepted than what used to be called broadcast quality.
it? Wow, that's incredible. A few weeks ago, I was on a 2-day video shoot. We rented out the penthouse suite in the Cosmopolitan. You guys may have seen some of my stories on Facebook. And we had this successful entrepreneur who paid for this whole thing. I can't imagine how much money he spent for everything. To have this whole crew come in and interview him in a master class style, which is kind of popular nowadays with videographers. And I didn't tell the client this, but I thought it was horrible because the number of cameras in his face and the lighting and all the people, there were probably 10 people involved in producing this video, getting the lighting and the sound and snaking cables around and making sure that whatever stuff's not running out of batteries that's all over the place, that it's really kind of intimidating. And unless you're a professional on TV comfortable spokesperson, that would spook out most people. The ordinary person, if they were sitting in one of those seats and there's all this equipment in your face, would freak out and freeze up and not be natural. And what I found, and I took that entrepreneur aside later and I said, hey, how about you and I just try some videos out here on the balcony? The funny thing is that they shot this thing inside the penthouse where it's big, but because of the way the lighting was, you couldn't see that we're up 60 stories high. I said, why don't you and I, Brian, just hang out on the balcony for a minute and make some videos, some little 15-second videos. Those 15-second videos in the break time outperformed these professionally shot videos, not because I know better about, aperture and lighting and f-stops, but he was comfortable. And it felt like a normal conversation because he was just looking at me. I said, look at me, and I'm holding my camera off at a 45-degree angle. Don't look at the camera. I know I'm holding my arm out to the side. Don't look at the camera. Just look at me. We're standing out here on this crazy balcony overlooking Las Vegas. Let's talk about how you grew your business. Let's talk about how was your flight coming over here? What's it like staying in the penthouse suite? What's your favorite place to eat? What kind of food do you like? Or tell me about that celebrity you're hanging out with. You said you were in LA and you're hanging out with 50 Cent or whoever it was. What was it like hanging out with 50 Cent? What did he do? Or what was that other thing you told me over dinner? Go ahead and tell me that again. That was interesting. So capturing those moments and being able to empathize with the client and get them to relax. I'm sure Chris will agree with this. The pro videographer, not pro because of their equipment and having 5 cameras around their neck, but the one who can generate results, as in sales and conversions, is the one who knows how to extract the story out of the client, which is what I think Jeffrey's saying. And that's what I found too. I don't know anything about all this. I have so much crazy camera equipment. I don't even know how to use it, right? I have other friends who come in and they want to shoot full manual and they say that there's things that are wrong with my settings. Okay, fine. But I know how to get the story out of somebody. And one of my favorite tips, and this is how we also pull out 15-second clips, I'll bring someone onto a podcast and I'll ask them a bunch of questions, ideally not the same questions that everyone else has asked. That's why you do a little bit of research, because you want a fresh interview. And we do the introduction at the end, because then I already know what it is that we talked about, so I can, with high energy, be able to talk about those items and challenge them. And then we're recording the whole time, so we didn't stop recording, but we'll say, okay, now the podcast is over. Now we're going to record some intro bits, and I'm going to challenge you with different statements. And you make a statement, I make a statement. We go back and forth promoting this. Like, I'm so glad to be on the Coach U Show. Did you know that the 3 reasons why your gut is doing this is because of this? So we're just going back and forth. And invariably, this leads to discussions about things that happen that are typically not being captured by the camera. And it's that stuff that is after the official podcast where you get the juiciest bits. Yesterday, I was on Jake Gallen's podcast. I drove to the Arts District in Las Vegas, and this guy's a big crypto millionaire guy. He owns all sorts of NFTs and this sort of thing. And I was on his podcast, and the best conversation was before the podcast and after the podcast. And shame on him, because I don't think he kept the video rolling. Because if he kept the video rolling after the podcast ended, the juiciest bits, well, some of them can't be public because we were gossiping about certain people in the industry. That can't be there. But the most interesting things were actually after it ends, because people don't feel they're under the pressure of the camera. So I challenge you guys, if you're on a podcast or if you're interviewing other people or you're with a client in a Zoom meeting, consider, with their consent, recording the whole thing so that, for internal purposes, you say you're recording everything for the VAs, for other team members who couldn't make the meeting. But pull out little snippets and then later go back to the client or whoever it is and say, hey, out of our conversation, we pulled out these particular clips. We put them in this one folder. What do you say we just use them? I think you said some really insightful stuff. And 99% of the time they say yes. And that's when you capture those authentic 15-second moments. You don't even need to have an ending. Ideally, you do. But you can cut and paste. We can mix and match from the other content that you have. Hope you guys found that helpful.
Dennis, it's funny you mentioned that, because today I did 2 videos for a local company here who does cybersecurity, and one of them was an introduction video. And with that introduction video, he had this big script written for what he wants to say, and it echoes exactly what you said. He kind of it didn't really go to the feel of like having a natural conversation. It was more, since he had a script, he felt it was more memorization, because it's like, oh, I have this script, here's an introduction video that makes sense. When I came in today, I kind of had him ditch the script, and we literally just had a conversation. That's all it was. It was just like a coffee shop conversation of like, hey, that's awesome. So you have a cybersecurity business. What do you do with that? And it's that conversation piece, that human to human conversation, that gave so much more value than a completely written script. And so the end product, which I'm still editing, by the way, the end product feels so much more relatable, so much more personable, because we just had that human to human conversation. And so that's an amazing tip and an amazing thing that you mentioned when you sort of.
That's a great point, Chris. And I'll leave one point to follow up on that, and then Jeffrey can close us out. Or maybe we got David
We've
and Rich.
got, we can do 30
We'll
seconds
go a few more
more with
minutes.
two 15-second videos. Will give us
Yeah, let's do that. All right. welcome, David Tyler. You ready to give your story?
Hey, Dennis. I just wanted to toss in because you were talking before about how essentially low quality video is selling more than high quality video. Essentially, that's kind of what you were saying before. I've spent my whole career working in broadcasting, in radio and television, and I've been stunned by that same idea that. Especially on social media, we're not talking about on the television itself, but on social media, low quality video seems to have a better reaction. And over the last few years, what I've realized is that in terms of social media and the general population, there seems to be an aversion to authority. So when people see something that's too well produced on social media, people are more likely to think of it as a a used car salesman, that kind of a thing. So they're not going to accept the message. You were saying before, Dennis, about an iPhone video converting better than something that's produced with thousands of dollars of equipment. I think that's absolutely true.
That's interesting that you see it as. I agree. I never thought of it as an aversion to authority, as in like, screw the man, or this is clearly being produced by a mega corporation. But how much of it do you think, kind of tying to what Chris says, is about the authentic moments where people have flaws? So we've done training with TikTok, and they call it being flawsome, where people have ums and ahs, and the lighting's not perfect, their hair's not perfect. I listen to David's voice. You guys will agree with me on this. When David first came on here and started speaking, I thought, this is the voice of God. This
Great
guy
pipes.
has a
Great
radio voice.
Great pipes, as
Wow.
we say. Great pipes. I agree 100%.
But wait, there's more. Buy now, and we'll throw a second one in free.
In a
And
world.
and and that's one of
David, can
the
you just
that's
say
one
in
of
a
the things,
world?
Dennis, that
Say in a world for us, will you?
in a world. That's one of the things that I mean, because I'm doing a lot of voiceover as well for commercials and television stations and radio stations, and that's also one of the things that I need to. It's my natural voice. It's not something that I put on. I need to find a way to make my voice sound less authoritative, if you know what I mean, to become to become more real sounding, kind of in the way that I'm stuttering and umming right now. Whenever it is that I'm doing a commercial or a TV promo or something like that, so I struggle to do that because of my awareness that there seems to be an aversion to authority.
I would say it's an aversion to perfection, or it's an aversion because your voice is too good. You sound like, even you could be talking about something just off the cuff. I'm afraid you're trying to sell me something. Just like people who speak in a British accent, they could be talking about what they ate at McDonald's, and it's going to sound like it's from the BBC, right?
Right.
So we find that people resonate. So these iPhone videos, they look trustworthy because it seems like something a consumer is producing, and it is. And we intentionally will throw in these goof B-roll sorts of moments, right? Bloopers. And we find, and part of it's to get people's attention by starting with the blooper, but we also are intentionally trying to level the field, which we're trying to do the exact opposite of what a commercial would be. Because when you see something that's lit perfectly, you think, that's a commercial. I don't believe anything that's about to happen. In fact, people are going to scroll right past that in social media, right? Oh, it's a commercial. I'm not even going to stay to listen to what they have to say or whoever it is. It's obviously commercial, right?
I think that one of the charms of Gary Vee and his social media is because it everything seems to be just kind of like off the cuff. I think maybe a couple of years ago he was one of his videos was probably one of the first ones that I saw of him sitting in the back seat of a taxi cab in New York City, and I went, wow, that's kind of cool. He's just sort of shooting it off the cuff, and because of that, I think it had more impact.
Yeah, and these F-bombs are intentional because you wouldn't see that in a commercial. Although I wouldn't have the balls to do that because I'd alienate the audience. But yeah,
Yeah,
right on,
yeah,
David.
yeah.
So glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Stay on for a minute.
All
I
right.
like hearing your voice.
I've got my 15 seconds if you want to hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go. And then we'll go to Rich.
Are you rolling time? Okay. I believe that great communicators are great simplifiers. It's not about dumbing down, it's about crafting a message to have the greatest impact. I'm David Tyler, and I help professionals connect ideas with audiences. You could drop me a line at david@davidtylerspeaks.com or 1-888-4-David Tyler.
You could be a late night talk show host.
18 seconds. 18 seconds, David. But
18,
very nice.
sorry, a little over on that one. Sorry
That's all
about
right. All good.
That's fantastic. Wow, David. I mean, you not only have the voice, you have the whole package.
that. I'm there.
You know what would be awesome? You should run your voice, if you haven't done it already, through Overdub on Descript. And you could have David narrate anything in a way that people wouldn't even realize you didn't actually do it. You could have the AI train your voice.
That's kind of scary because that's how I make my living right now.
I know, but you got to control the robot, not be afraid of the robot. Have the robot work for you.
I got you,
scale
Dennis.
your business. You could
You're
scale
right.
your business, David. Then you could just literally type the sentences, and the recordings would.
I hear you.
And there's only one David. You're coaching a lot of businesses. Imagine if you could provide coaching. You could have like 5 Davids, right? The logic that's inside your brain. I imagine what percent of the stuff, and then we'll move to Richard. What percent of the advice you give the clients is the same stuff that you say all the time?
95%.
All right. Sounds like the AI is going to work really well. You just personalize it with the client's name, their situation, this kind of stuff. And then that other 5% is where the real David comes in. And it's not because you're trying to automate everything. It's because you want to be able to spend your time really focusing on the things that will personalize and are specific for that client instead of repeating the same stuff that you repeat all the time. Anyone who's a coach or a consultant or an agency, you know this is true. You spend 90% of your time repeating the same thing over and over again. Why not just put that into an AI? It's just as good. Anyway,
I've actually been doing that. That's I have a small business marketing course that all of my small business clients go through before I actually start to coach them. So it's not AI. It's not as sexy as AI, but still it gets that.
that's a great first step. And the next step is load your voice into Descript and then tie in Jarvis.ai AI to be able to react to their particular situations and the story that they want to tell. Because ultimately, you're helping people tell their story better, which is perfect for a combination of these AI tools on top of your course, on top of your YouTube videos and public stuff.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Richard, you've been so.
Hi, Dennis. I listened to David, and I'm thinking, when I read Chris Voss's book about the late night FM DJ voice, I'm like, hey, that's it. It's right there. Well, let me give this a shot. If you're a small business owner, there's only 3 things you need to know to grow your business: how to collect leads, convert clients, and create fans. If you want to know how to do this in an environment where there's no selling and no hard sell, nothing to buy, meet me, Rick Buchert from Rugged Marketing, this Saturday morning at Post YYC, and we'll see you there. I'll be the bald guy in the bright pink Hawaiian shirt.
Love Calgary, except when it's cold.
21 seconds. 21 seconds, Richard. Not bad.
Yeah, good job.
Winging it.
Love it. Hey, try that one more time. See if you can get it down to 15 seconds, because in the middle there, I think you said with the without selling thing 2 or 3 times.
I stuttered, yeah. All right, one more shot. If you're a small business, there's only 3 things you need to know to grow your business: how to collect leads, convert them into clients, and then create fans. If you want to know how to do this, where there's nothing to buy and no hard sell, meet me, Rick Buchert, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. till 9:30 at Poached YYC.
16 seconds. Much
awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. Good job, Rick.
It's amazing how terrifying that is.
Okay, let's go into that for a second. What makes it terrifying for you?
I don't know. I think it's probably the fear of screwing up. It's just, you're it's an uncomfortable thing to do the first few times. And
so what would a screw up be? Stuttering? So you stuttered. Did you die?
Yeah, no, I didn't die. It's just, you get conditioned that it's supposed to be perfect. And I've since I saw you, I forget a while ago, it was with Perry Marshall, and you were talking about TikTok.
Oh yeah.
So I actually set up a TikTok account, and I've been going on, and I had one TikTok I did. I literally screwed it up in the middle badly, and I just went blah blah blah. Yeah, I got done. English eludes me, and I kept right on going and published it as is. And I'm like, I can't believe I actually did that.
Yeah, and did anyone mock you when you stuttered?
No.
No.
but it was funny. That's one of the ones that was actually had more likes than any of the other ones.
Because you're a human, like
Yeah,
David and our other friends are talking about.
yeah, and
Imagine that.
yeah, I'm learning from it. But I'm getting to the point where well, if I mess up, I just keep going and I'll address. Yeah, I messed up, but here's the rest of the message, and that's that. So
If you want to be perfect, your lawn would be AstroTurf. It would be perfect green with no weeds.
that's one of the reasons I live in a condo, so I don't have to worry about the lawn.
See, there you go.
There you go.
E-
Yeah.
Now,
Thank
if
you
you
so much.
recall, Dennis, even Max Headroom stuttered, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was intentional to sell more Coke for sure.
Touche. Yeah,
Good job, Richard.
that was Matt Frewer. I love that show.
Hmm.
I'm glad that people here got the reference. I was a little bit worried before I said it.
I'm 47, you know.
I got you beat by 10 and a bit, my friend.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Heather Havenwood. Welcome. We've seen her a few times here. She's fat.
Hey, Dennis, how are you?
Good. You want to give us your 15-second story?
Ooh, 15 seconds. Whew. Okay. Well, my name is Heather Ann Havenwood, the creator of The Female Edge, and I help women launch their business through their platform for podcasting. Ooh, that's 15 seconds, I think. Was that it? It's very
Actually,
fast.
Heather, that was only 9 seconds.
Nice.
You got like 6 extra seconds to play with there. What are you going to do
Yeah.
with those 6 seconds?
I don't know.
So here's what you
Dance.
do. So start with some interesting fact or an interesting question, which is what we call the hook. So there's 3 parts, right? The first part is that intro, some sort of thing to cause them to want to hear more, then the body, and then what you do, right? And then the call to action.
Okay, so do that for me. So that's great, Dennis. How would you do that if I was just saying who I was on the hook side? Would you ask a question as the hook? Like, do you want to launch your,
Heather?
do
What's
you
your
want to launch your
brand? You have a
platform? Is that
brand,
what you would do?
Heather. You have a brand that you use, and you post a lot of social stuff. That's an
Yeah.
attention-getting brand. Why wouldn't you lead with some
Good question.
sexy boss?
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to start that though. How would you use that as a hook?
So the easiest hook is to start with pain, because people always identify with the pain, or to start with an interesting fact. So in this case, we could say most people are afraid of podcasts because they're afraid no one's ever going to listen. They don't know what to do. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm Heather Havenwood. I'm going to help you build your global influence. Right.
Nice.
So
That was a problem. So you asked a question, or no, you made
a question, a statement. There's different ways of doing the same thing. So you made all love here. So this is constructive criticism. The classic mistake that people make when they make any kind of video, promo, advertisement is they start by saying who they are. No one cares whether it's Jeffrey or Dennis or Heather. You need to get their attention, share some kind of expertise or something, some value to create relevancy, and then you can say, and I'm Heather Havenwood, and I'm going to help you be a badass leader, right? But if you start with I'm Heather Havenwood, you've not earned the right to their attention. So you say who you are at the end. See, you have a hook, right? Whatever the intro is, the body, where you're saying a little bit more about that topic, and then you have your call to action. You don't want to try to teach the whole thing. You want to do just enough. It's like a movie trailer. You don't want to show them the whole movie or summarize the whole movie. You just want to get their attention with a couple key things. In a movie trailer, they show where the car blows up, or they show a couple of the key scenes, but without trying to spoil the whole thing, right? So the 15-second video is a movie trailer.
right. Let me ask you a
So
question,
try that.
Dennis, on this. This is
Yeah.
really great. I'm just going to go deeper with this. This is great. So I've been looking for the formula of 15 second, right?
Uh-huh.
And when I'm looking on TikTok and I'm doing research, it's almost like one thing, one content piece, one, I don't know, one piece. It's almost like you just got to bring it down to the kindergarten level and just state one little nugget.
For professionals, yes. Now, the other people who are blowing up on TikTok, they're doing singing and dancing and stunts and things like that. But for us as
Yeah, professionals.
professionals in B2B and software and coaching, and we have expertise. So the whole author, speaker, coach thing, it's a different model. It's this 3-part model which is what we covered in the last hour. You can get the replay, by the way. It's on startup.club, Coach U Show. They're all being recorded. That's the red circle, right? You're consenting to being recorded, right? And you start with the hook, something interesting, not about yourself, not promotional, but to show that you have empathy with them. Then, Michael Sanchez is here. He is the king of TikTok and the king of all new kinds of social media. I would yield anything I would say, I would yield to whatever Michael Sanchez has to say. But you have that intro, you have a body, and then you have an exit. Now, I think Michael's got a 5 or 6 steps, which his is more sophisticated. Mine is simpler. He's got a guide. He's a lead magnet on how do you create a viral TikTok video, which goes through these same steps. But I think he goes like hook, intro. What is it, Michael? You're here.
Yeah, I think it depends, to be honest, on the niche and the category and or what your intent is behind the scenes. Maybe you just want to be helpful. Maybe you want to do a call to action. Maybe you want to position yourself as an authority. The main reason why I hopped on, though, on stage real quick was I think one thing you could do too, Heather, is like you don't have to really necessarily say who you are and what you do. You could just kind of casually position in a way where it's like, here's 3 things that most lawyers get wrong. And then the next line could be like, look, I've been doing litigation for 15 years. This is the number one thing that judges hate. But like you've already positioned like I've been a lawyer for 15 years. This is what lawyers or this is what judges hate. Like you're kind of showing a history to it and you're kind of positioning yourself as an authority without having to say like I'm Heather and I've been doing blah blah. You can, but to Dennis's point, like nobody cares. Not yet at least. Maybe at the end you could be like, by the way, my name's Heather. If you want to follow me for more, I got you. And then that's it or whatever you might want to be. But to your question though, Dennis, I have a lot of different variations. I think
Thanks,
most
Michael.
professionals, right? Oh yeah, sorry.
No, I was just saying thanks, Michael, for that. And when just to restate that because it was so good. Like here's 3 things that the lawyers do wrong. I've been doing X for 15 years. Here's the one thing the judges hate. I mean, that right there is a beautiful model. I just wanted to restate that for the room. That was like beautifully done because I agree with you. I don't think saying my name adds no value. They just care about what can I do for them. That was pretty brilliant.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I've been I've been working with a lot of like expert service people on TikTok and short form for like the last year or so. So one biggest thing I've noticed, and Dennis, maybe you can talk to this too. There's somebody on here. His name's Boomer. He says this quote. He says, "You can't give them too many balls to juggle. Just focus on one." I think the biggest problem I see with the professionals on TikTok is they're used to like long form storytelling or copywriting, where it's like, here's 5 ways you can get more customers, but then each one has like 4 segments. So number 1, run a business. Okay, the first thing you want to, it's too much. It just needs to be very compartmentalized, one-off things, and not be afraid to do like a series from it. So if it's like, here's 3 ways you can impress a judge, probably not. You might want to be like, here's the number 1 way that I impress a judge when I go into the courtroom or something like that, and just do that one. That's all. You don't really need to go over the top. I think there's too many people that I've worked with, at least, or even witnessed. They want to say too much, and then it gets to a point where it's like, what are you even talking about right now? Like I thought you were talking about the judge, and now you're rambling about a court proceeding that you might have had from like 10 years ago. Like, it doesn't add anything to the story. So I would definitely say whatever your idea is, look through it and probably chop half of it off and be like, okay, let me segment that a little bit better and a little bit easier to understand and comprehend.
That
That's
is awesome.
great. No, I was gonna say that's great advice, Mike. And I think when you get into platforms like TikTok, where people are swiping through so quickly, and you need to make that impact, it's much better to instead of we're used to saying 10 things in one video, but instead you want to say one thing in each of 10 videos and spread that out. And I think that's the challenge, and it's a different mindset because we're all used to saying a lot.
Yeah. And the other thing about the TikTok algorithm is it's looking at completion time and people staying. So you saw Michael with his hook on, in my 15 years as a corporate lawyer, this is the one thing that judges absolutely hate. So that's a clickbaity headline, which you can speak and have in a video because it creates what's called an open loop. The whole point of an intro or a hook You guys understand open loops, right? An open loop is, well, what happens next? So crappy clickbait creates open loops, but it doesn't really, but it's just teasing people. An open loop, I did a LinkedIn post. This works on every single social network. I did a LinkedIn post that got 2.5 million organic views just on my profile, no ads, anything like that. And my opening line was when, what was it? Something like, my client got mad at me on when I forgot what it was. She was mad about something because such and such. So that first sentence causes people to think, well, why did the client get mad at me? Right. And then I went on to, oh, I know what it was. I said, I charged, the client got mad at me even though I charged $10,000 for a $100,000 project. So that creates an open loop. So people are like, oh, well, what happened? So you close the loop. But then when you close the loop, you want to open another loop in the next sentence. So I'll say, and it was because she was trying to do this, but she extended the scope creep and she was doing this. And then I open another loop. So you keep opening and closing loops. And that's how you get people to stay on and watch longer. But on TikTok, generally you want to have these things at 15 to 22 seconds if you're doing professional services. If you do stuff in a minute, I know, what is it now? 3 minutes is the limit that you can have. People are not going to watch that long. YouTube, you can get people to do that. But TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you can't do that anymore. And like Michael said, you should follow Michael, by the way. I think Michael, in my estimation, is the #1 social media hacker out there in terms of a B2B influence, get people's attention, understand what the algorithm I don't mean hacker as in like break into your passwords. I mean hacker as in the marketing, understand what the system needs to be able to get distribution and conversions. So if you're not following him, you should click on his face and go follow him on all the different socials.
Can I ask a question to Michael since he's here? Or do you, Dennis? Or
Go for it.
okay, so Michael, one of the things I would love to, we're talking about it esoterically right now, but is there kind of for author speakers or experts, is there a formula for short form video, 15-second? Is there kind of like a formula? We're talking about it kind of esoterically, one thing, hook, but is there kind of a formula that you're seeing consistently over and over again?
I think it's kind of, I mean, yes, but also no, which is like probably the shittiest answer you probably want to hear right now. I would say yes, there is definitely for sure. But at the same time, I would say no, because I think every industry, every niche, every kind of ebb and flow that's happening in the industry or in social or just in the news kind of tends to lean different ways in terms of storytelling. But I think for at least TikTok, one of the easiest ones you can do is really just a stitch reply. Just take somebody's good piece of content and then just add your commentary on top of it. And then all you have to do is just talk about and reiterate the problem that they had, a desire they were trying to hit, and then just kind of some result that you were able to achieve from it. So and then it was talking about 50-second videos. I can stitch it like, dude, this is exactly what I've been talking about all these last year. I mean, God, it's so incredibly simple. Like, I know that's obviously not like the coolest storytelling kind of thing, but that's something I think, generally speaking, anybody can apply or is applicable. From an author standpoint, I'm working with 2 authors right now, and they're both very, very different from what's resonating, what isn't. One of them, a woman, I don't know, I don't think I can say her name because I'm on an NDA, but she had some really bad stuff happen. She went through a divorce. She found out she had cancer that same month. The divorce, the guy like basically took the house and everything and insurance. So she pretty much was like, I might die and I'm going to be poor or whatever. She overcame it. She wrote a book about it. But a lot of her content on TikTok isn't even so much about the book. It's about her story of like what she went through in the moment. And then she relates it back to the book, kind of like what Dennis was saying, an open loop where she'll be like, this is one of the most traumatic things that happened to me, blah, blah, blah. I wrote more about it in my book. You can check it out if you want. From that, she said on her TikTok, she's completely sold out. She's in Australia, and she's like a #1 bestseller right now because of just people on TikTok being like, "That's literally my story." I know Boomer's in the room. Maybe I always put Boomer on the spot, but I think if Boomer can come up, he's incredibly good at storytelling and like just kind of, I don't know, speaking in a way that grabs people's attention. But hopefully that answers your question. If you want, you can just DM me. I can send you a bunch of little like framework scripts that I have for authors that could be helpful for you, maybe.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that.
All right, you guys are awesome. Today in the Coach U Show, we have this weekly show, Thursday at 5, part of Startup Club. Jeffrey Sass is our amazing moderator who organizes this as part of Startup Club, and we love to see all you guys. Today we talked about powerful 15-second videos and how there's 3 parts. There's the intro, the body, and the exit. And there's so many different ways of doing this. I hope that you guys will catch the replay. I hope that you'll look at other episodes of the Coach U Show, because the common thread here is we want to help you build your brand. We want to help you get your story out there, whether it's through Facebook ads or blogging or video or being able to network with people like Heather or Michael or David, who has the voice of God. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. We want to bring everyone together. That's what Clubhouse is here for. And I'm glad you guys are here. And I'm hoping that we can connect together on startup.club. I'm hoping that you'll follow the other people here. It could be Salmon or Heather or David or Richard or Jeffrey. Follow them on the Instagram and on the Twitter. Click on their profile and you'll see that they have links to their other social media profiles, and message them. In fact, Clubhouse lets us message each other right here as well. I just messaged Boomer. Hopefully he's here and he'll reply back, or maybe come up on stage like Michael suggested. Any final words, last words of encouragement for everyone else here in the room? And then Jeffrey will close it out. Anyone can go in any order.
I just want to add something. I'm just now learning that what I call the 15-second video. I'm deep diving into that. But I will say someone that right now with podcasting, what's kind of going on with that is that from what I understand, TikTok has opened their API. And so what that means is that if you have an RSS feed and you can create content, even long form, and then chop it up, is that TikTok now just opened their API, so you're going to be able to push out 15-second. And of course, you have the 15-second, you can, of course, then put Reels to Facebook Reels to short form YouTube. So my point of that is saying I just want to encourage everyone, and like myself, to double down on short form video. It's not going away. It's here to stay. It's going to get bigger. And so I just want to encourage the room for that. And Michael, I just DM'd you as well here, as well as Instagram.
Thank you, Heather. How about the voice of God, David?
Oh, what do you want me to say? In a world, another time,
a final sentence,
or
a piece of encouragement for everyone here.
a piece of encouragement. I've been doing broadcasting for a long time, over 30 years now, and still for me, just as I hit record on a video or anything that I'm recording, there is a little bit of I do get nervous. So for somebody who hasn't been at the level that I am or have been in broadcasting, to get nervous, that's completely normal. Push past that, get past the first 5 seconds of whatever it is that you're recording, and everything will be all right.
Amen. Richard.
Yes, sir.
Final thought?
Final thought is just pull up my socks and keep making videos, and know that each one I make I'll get better at it.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. It looks like Dennis finally exited. Here he's back. He fat thumbed the leave quietly button, I think.
Uh-oh. I'm back.
Richard gave his final thoughts, so I think we've covered everyone. Dennis, another great episode of the Coach U Show here on Startup Club. And we've got replays turned on now. That's a new feature. So if you enjoyed the show tonight and want to share it, you can go to Startup Club, find the replay. It's easy to share it. That's going to Startup Club within Clubhouse. Outside of Clubhouse, we hope you'll go to startup.club, which is the website for Startup Club, and you can see recordings of the past episodes of the Coach U Show there, and many other shows that we record and post there and turn into podcasts, and you can sign up for our mailing list to get informed of the other new shows and special events coming up on Startup Club. So Dennis, another great episode. Really thankful for everyone who came up on stage and participated tonight. We had a lot of engagement tonight, which is why we went long, which is great. Dennis, I think it's great that our longest episode is our 15-second.
The irony of it. You guys make your 15-second videos. You can tag Jeffrey or me or other folks, and we want to collect the best of them. We want to highlight you. If you got something great you want to share, let's see it. The biggest issue we see is people not even making their 15-second videos. What a huge opportunity to leapfrog the competition, especially author speaker coaches. Love you guys all. I hope to see you all next Thursday at 5 p.m. And if you have any other topics that you'd like to cover, let Jeffrey or I know.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dennis. We hope to see all of you on another episode of the Coach U Show here at Startup Club.
See you guys
Bye-bye.
later. Goodbye.